Everybody, it's Bart Vickery here with Module 8 of Money University. Now we're talking about the college fund, right? We want to send our kids to college. I mean, isn't that the American way? At least we've been brainwashed for it to be. Now, don't get me started. I know I'm not going to get into my in-depth opinions of college because my wife is probably going to be wincing when she watches this video that I went too far. But I do have a theory about college, and I think it's probably one of the biggest scams perpetrated on us as Americans. But I digress, okay? And I only say that because of the cost and the idea that we have to send our kids to college. The fact is, only 33% of the kids that start college actually finish. And in those of us that really look at it and think about it, college doesn't prepare you to be rich. It doesn't prepare you to be successful. It doesn't even prepare you to be a great citizen. Right? What it does do a good job of is it prepares you to be an employee, and you know I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But again, let me go back and start this over. All of my kids, all three of my wonderful, sometimes wonderful kids, will be going to college if that's what they desire. I went to college, my wife went to college, and it was, as all of you that went to college know, one of the greatest times ever. Okay? But it's had very little to do with my success in life, but I do believe it is a great way to start your child on the path to success. Okay? It helps them learn to think critically. It improves their social skills. Okay? Get them out there and let them fend for themselves a little bit. You know, too often now, parents coddle their children. They helicopter around them. Right? Kids are almost retarded in their growth and maturity. College helps bring it out. Okay, it also breaks a few, but it helps bring out more maturity, more responsibility. It also shows the power of goal setting, having a goal of getting my degree in this amount of time, okay, to keeping this type of GPA. I am all for all of those things, but let's be clear, it's not the holy grail, all right? But if we're going to send our kids to college, let's not saddle them with enormous amounts of debt when they get out of college. I mean, again, one of the sub-scams of the whole college university enormous cost factor is the college and university loan programs, okay? These things that are there to help, these things saddle kids with debt for years and years and years. So if we're going to send them, we want them to pay for some of it themselves with cash, and then we're going to pay the rest, all right? Is that what we're going to do? If that's what we've decided, then let's do it. But the fact is there's only 39% of Americans that ever save a dime for their kids' college education. And there's only 9% of Americans that take advantage of the college saving programs that are out there in place, all right? So let's get into it. First is cost. Determine what is the cost going to be to send my kid to college. What's the cost going to be per year? You know, like right now, I've estimated that it's going to cost about, and this is a rounded up ballpark figure of about $20,000 a year per kid to go to college. Okay, so if we start with my oldest one, $20,000 a year, that's $80,000 for a 4-year degree, because I will expect them to complete the degree within that time frame. All right, with a certain GPA. Okay, so let's say $20,000 a year, if that's the plan. Now remember this, if you haven't saved a dime and your kid wants to go to Harvard and they're not smart enough to get a scholarship, so they're going to try to get in and pay the whole way and they want you to foot the bill, forget about it. Send them to a state university. Every state in this great country has a wonderful, many wonderful universities. I want to send my kids away, not too far away, but away so that, again, they will gain that higher level of social skills and responsibilities, but yet we're still within striking distance if we want to go to a frat party. That's the idea. So for us, we're looking at Purdue University. It's about an hour and a half away from where we live in Valparaiso, Indiana. So as of today, we're at about $20,000 a year. And again, that's a high estimate, but let's go with that number. Next, we need the plan. What is the plan? The sooner we start with anything, the better. So some of you, you've already started. You started day one saving for your kids' college education. Now let's look at it this way. What if we broke it down? How digestible could it be? I like to break things down as far down as possible. Okay, and like Like when we get into goal setting, if you've already looked at the goal setting programs, I like to break things down till we make them daily executable choices that if we make more good ones than bad, we're going to reach our goals. So if we break down our plan on how we're going to afford the cost, if we looked at a 4-year degree and it cost 80 grand for the 4 years, right? And we started at, we started when they were born, okay? So for you young parents out there, this is a hint. Please start right away. 80 grand divided by 18. Of course, I've done a little bit of this math up front, so you don't have to see me struggle in my head. That's just over $4,000 a year that you need to save for 18 years. Now, that's not a huge number, and this is to fully pay cash for your kid's college education. You divide that number by 12, right? What do you end up with? You end up with roughly $370 a month. You need to save from the time your child is born to pay cash for their college education. Now, this is if you put the money under your mattress and do not earn a dime of interest. Now, I would never recommend that. I always fully like to leverage my money so that it goes to work for me while I'm sleeping or hanging out with my family or on vacation or doing all the wonderful things that I like to do. I want my money out there working for me. So that's what we're going to be looking to as well. But if you break it down like this, it's not that huge of a number. It's not a daunting task to be able to pay cash for your college education of your child. But if we get into next, which is Utilize, there are some great programs out there to help you exponentially grow your investment. Okay, tax-free to pay for your kids' college education, because in this country, the government has said, okay, it would be a wise idea if we fully educated as many people as we possibly can, as long as you pay for it, taxpayers and parents. So we set up a couple of different programs. And the two that are most prevalent and most popular and should both be utilized is, one is an ESA. That's an educational savings account. It's a tax-free account, okay, that's basically invested into the markets so that you can have a normally higher than average return on investment. Typically, these are returning about historically 8 to 10%. So that changes this number dramatically when you're talking about consistent investing applied to compound interest, right? As that grows, it becomes exponential. So this number could easily be down to 150 or 200 a month, or even less, depending on the market. But 8 to 10% historic returns on an educational savings account, and it is tax-free. Currently, there's a $2,000 a year limit. Okay, so if you want to go above and beyond that, I would highly recommend this first, educational savings account. Okay, next would be the 529, and this is probably something you've heard of if you have kids that you plan on sending to college. Now, there's different types of 529s, and each and every state has their own 529, and within that there's different 529 plans. The only 529 plan that I would recommend would be called a flexible 529, which allows you to determine where those dollars will be invested. Okay, take your 529 flexible index fund, done, simple, you don't have a bunch of fees. All right, the money grows tax free. These programs are set up for us with kids that we want to send to college, that we don't want them to be saddled with enormous amounts of debt when they're done. They're out there for us, so let's use them. Module 8, college fund. If we're going to send the kids, let's send them right. And then they're going to learn from us by the things we do. Thanks a lot for viewing. Any questions, concerns, comments, whatever you'd like to say, skinnyhappymoney@yahoo.com. And if you haven't recommended the company to each and every person ever that you've known, then it is time to do so. And as you know, I am now offering them a free 60-day trial membership to check it all out. The printed newsletter, the incredible monthly audio CD, all of these modules, the weekly emails, the mastermind conference calls, the whole deal. Free for 60 days. They can check it out. Absolutely no obligation whatsoever. Send them to skinnyhappymoney.com. Thanks a lot. We'll see you on the other side.